thanks for making it. We had a big week last week. Let me share my thing. We had the the town hall on, I guess it was Monday, and then why is the right window not showing? There we go. Yeah, we had the OpenSSF town hall on Monday. I hope you guys were able to either see it or view the recording. The blog article on the metric dashboard went out. There's a link to it. And then I think on Thursday, the blog article on the security reviews project went out. So we are all caught up. The good part of it is that we are caught up. The bad part of it is now we need to figure out what we want to do next. So let's kind of start with that. So for the metric dashboard, there were a couple comments in the Slack channel, but also I think we've talked about it before about like chaos and where chaos fits into this, and like, hey, it looks pretty silly if like the Linux Foundation is funding two completely separate projects that have a substantial overlap, and I'm not sure that they have a substantial overlap, but I would like to understand if they have a substantial overlap and then do something about it. So I reached out to the chaos folks. I joined they have a Slack channel. They have a risk working group, which I believe has started to ask some questions that we have been looking at. Technically, I mean, it may overlap more with the scorecard project, but regardless of like where it actually fits, we should be talking to them. So their next working group meeting is on Thursday. David, I understand that you attend those regularly, or at least have
I attend the chaos working group meetings regularly, not the chaos as a whole, but the chaos risk working group is probably the closest. Now, I can give some more insights. I mean, the chaos in general works a lot more slowly because they're trying to make like carefully discussed, rigorously defined metrics, and if that takes 6 months or so, that's okay. So they have a very different goal. And unfortunately, I think for the security and risks, they're starting from they're learning as they go.
Okay.
So their timelines and interests may not be identical, but I think that it is. I think what you're doing is exactly right. Some discussions between. I've been trying to encourage that both directions for, as you know, some time. And just FYI, it may seem weird, but the Linux Foundation actually doesn't have some sort of official rule that projects can't overlap. If you've ever worked with the CNCF,
it was a should, not a must.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily should, because sometimes what seems to, well, first of all, I think in many cases what seems to overlap usually doesn't for one reason or another. But I think basically the real key is talk. And if there is a way, I mean, if you overlap and everybody has decided you're going to overlap, at least try to figure out what's distinctive between you. But there's no rule against it because, at least in some cases, it's kind of sped development. Oh, wait a minute, we got to get moving or they'll do X.
That works for me.
So, but I do think that this talk between and try to basically they've got some ideas. Whether or not they're good ideas is up to this group to decide. But I think it's good to at least take a look at what they've done and see if there's anything that's useful. And if not, that's fine. And if there is, great.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So you should have a little bit more information in 2 weeks about what comes out of that. I mean, let's just take it as it goes there. I don't want to go with any, assumptions on like what the future should look like. Let's just kind of see what happens. Within our side, though, the next set of metrics and kind of iteration on the dashboard and things like that, I want to make sure that we don't lose, completely lose momentum. So right now we have the current set out, which looks like this.
Right.
So go ahead, David.
I was just to say, I would prepare, first of all, I commend you and really all the work. I think, Michael, you've especially led the work to make this. So I commend, wow, we actually have something we can see and understand. What I would propose is spending at least some of this of today kind of, okay, we got something running, hooray. Now let's take a more critical eye, look through, and talk through both, what's there that maybe shouldn't be, and maybe what's not there that should be.
Yeah.
Maybe tweaking some of these things, and basically, starting. We always said we were going to refine once we had something. Well, we got something.
Yep.
I propose now's a good time to refine, with the caveat that any negative comments are not a negative comment on Michael, on you.
I do not. I'm like, it's like bullets off Superman. It's just
cool.
Yeah, totally fine. So yeah, let's do it. Let me. You know what? Since that's probably likely to take up the rest of the conversation, let me just. As far as budgets go, we did submit the budget that we talked about last time to the governing board. I feel like it should be fine. Like, we'll kind of see what comes out of it. But we'll know more at some point. And the security reviews article was published. And sorry, and I'm going completely out of order here, so I'm super sorry. We have at Paris. Welcome. Yes. Yeah. Let's. Yeah.
Hi, this is Paris Lucas. This is probably I've only been to 2 meetings for OpenSSF. I'm highly interested. So right now I'm just trying to be a fly on the wall until I figure out how I can better help the team.
Awesome. Love it.
So the only thing I put in the chat, and maybe somebody answered me, could somebody provide the direct link to the Google Doc you're working on right now, so I don't have to go look for it?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. There you go. Okay, so here's a dashboard. We'll just start out at wherever I would start out at criticality. And David, if you had thoughts on how most efficiently to kind of do this, feel free to drive.
I think that frankly, I don't. So I think starting at the top and just kind of walking down, just as you've suggested.
Okay.
Unless somebody else has a better idea, I think
cool.
at least it's ordered and we'll know when we're done, right?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So project criticality. So all of this data comes from the criticality score OpenSSF project. So I believe this in fact, what I should do is I should have the criticality score. So yeah, so the data that is collected is here, and then so the data is calculated, it's aggregated up to become a final score, and then we take a subset of that data and use it here. So the number of stars is, I mean, this should be the number of stars. But yeah, so it's a field called stars, which if you go back here, there should be something called stars somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is for you to show both the data and what you're showing.
Yeah, I mean, it might also be. How about we do this? How about we look to see, of the things that are existing here, do they tell the right story? Do they contribute in a meaningful way? And then maybe next time we'll go through all the things that aren't here and see which of those should be.
Okay. I have to admit, I'm very skeptical of stars. I realize some people like them because they're a number, but do they mean anything? I don't think so. It just means somebody clicked the star button. But since there's been never any definition about what a star means, I'm not sure it really. Yeah, I think. Do you get what number of watchers?
I don't know, but let's do this. We'll just take lots of notes.
Okay. That's probably a good idea anyway. So, all right. So let's see here. Open discussion. Okay. Criticality. Should we remove, I'm proposing, think about removing, should we add that, potentially add, maybe remove number of stars. Let's see. And I'll say maybe add.
Yeah, so quick thing. I was thinking, well, as of right now, it feels like this is our best metric of how, it's the only thing that kind of tells us like how big or popular. I want to say it doesn't measure how popular it is. So if we do get something better, like how many watchers there are, that would be phenomenal. But for example, like the stars was the only way I could kind of somewhat do some kind of popularity sort based on like what packages you're looking up and stuff like that. But I totally agree. It's not like any kind of end all be all of like how popular this project or how important it is. But looking at everything else, I don't know what else.
Yeah, the other thing about this is there's not really anything to help delineate any, like there's no verification process of GitHub of one project over another, right?
Yeah.
Stars are not a good fit for that, but they are something to let you know that you're like kind of on the real Kubernetes.
Yeah, that's the only way I kind of.
Yep. So if all of the other metrics were identical, and you had one project with 5 stars and the other one with 50,000, like, would you assume that the one with 50,000 was more important to? Because remember, so the whole purpose of this entire row is how influential or important is the project to the overall ecosystem, meaning Node or Kubernetes or these other projects are really important because they like run entire businesses, like lots and lots of them. While the, sorting library that I wrote in, some, in Lua that's used by 3 people is just not that important. The question is, just do stars, well, stars means nothing for security. Do they mean something for importance? Is popularity importance?
Yeah, I mean, wait, sorry, go ahead. Okay, I was just gonna say, like, if there's anything else, I think that kind of trumps stars. If like in terms of like how popular is this, how many watchers or viewers are down, like I don't know, but personally when I go to GitHub, it's the same thing. Like if I were to look at the rest of this criticality panel and like look, I could see a similar project that maybe a ton of people worked on, but it's just some patched together thing that made a bunch of releases and it's been around for a while. Like I still wouldn't know how kind of big or important it is. Like the stars is the only thing I can kind of lean on right now, but it's not a great metric in the the same time. So yeah, so I don't want to keep like repeating the same, but that's kind of how I was thinking about it. But personally,
So, I mean, we could also de-emphasize stars without removing it. I don't know how that would work from a UI perspective, but
Well, I think that when you list the first thing, that people assume that's the most important thing.
Yep.
So if you don't list as the first thing, it's probably not the most important thing.
Problem solved. But yeah, we can.
Yeah, number of watchers and number of forks, I think, is a safer.
Number of forks. Yeah.
Yeah, be great.
Yep. How about number of downloads?
Yeah, that'd be big.
Yeah, although I think that actually has a similar problem to the stars. I mean, the downloads is specific, but all it takes is a couple CI pipelines to download each time, and your numbers go up to the stratosphere, whether or not it makes any sense.
Yeah. All right. So.
But by the way, I found that isEven has 104 stars.
How about isOdd?
I don't know. It might or may not be similar. Let's see here. isOdd has 158 stars.
Oh, well, that totally explains it. I mean, isOdd is much more useful.
Hello. Why not give weight to each of these items and then aggregate them?
The problem here is who figures out those weights, and how do we figure those out?
Well, we might not have to. So that's actually a good point. So the criticality score already has all the maths to generate that final 98.6% from the data. Now, I'm just not sure what. So created since updated. So created and updated contributor count, number of distinct organizations, commit frequency, releases, closed, updated.
Yeah, but I mean, the math is just here's some random weights, and somebody came up with those weights. There's no reason. I mean, just because there's an equation up in front doesn't mean it's not arbitrary. It's arbitrary. It's just somebody wrote an equation.
Yep. But well, so here, I mean, specifically, like stars doesn't appear to be included in the algorithm.
Go up at the top. I thought it was, but maybe not. Okay.
So if that's true, then maybe just listing the things that are in the algorithm here would at least more faithfully reflect the criticality project's view on things, as opposed to say, here's a criticality score and here's a bunch of other data that we like. Maybe that belongs in a separate section, which is like, our view on things.
Is number of dependents number of like other projects that depend on this? Because that's kind of interesting in terms of like if there's a whole lot of other projects out there that utilize this, that can kind of speak to its importance, maybe, or usually like how the repository used, I guess. I don't know.
Number of project mentions in the commit messages.
Wow, that's not clearly defined at all.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think we need to add that as a comment. We need to track down what dependence count actually means, right? If Dan were here, he could probably answer that in a heartbeat.
I guess if stars isn't part of the calculation or however they deem importance, then I guess I could be totally kind of wrong in my interpretation of it. So might require more research, I guess.
Yeah. So how about this? So in the interest of the purpose of the work group, would someone like to take point on kind of rationalizing what we're doing for the criticality score specifically?
I don't know what you mean by rationalizing. Do you
Well,
mean
like,
coming
can
up with
answer
a
these
proposal?
questions. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I could certainly look into that. I don't know if anyone else wants to give input and stuff as well, but I'm very willing to help out. I don't know if David or anyone else.
I'm willing to help out. I was trying to see if I've already probably said yes to too many things, but yeah, one more. Why not?
No.
But you know, I'd be happy to kind of walk through. But seems like basically it's a look at what's there, look at what is in the project criticality list data sets, and see if we would propose deltas, basically.
Yeah.
To help out, David, I could, if you want, I can just, start out with a set handful of research and then post an issue or something on GitHub. And if you want
That sounds like, I love it. Yeah. So just at David-A-Wheeler, and I will immediately hear about it, and I will make my own commits. That sounds like a great plan.
Awesome.
Okay. So yeah, and again, Michael, we are so grateful for all that you've done. I think at this point, it's say, what can we do to refine this?
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep. This is perfect. Cool. Okay. So how about badge program?
All right. This is something I know a little bit about.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are so many data values that you could choose to display. I never know which. I can explain to you, by the way, why the dynamic analysis used is red, but the dynamic analysis fixed is green. And that has to do with the subtlety of how the questions are worded. The dynamic analysis fixed says, for all the problems that you know about that were found with dynamic analysis, did you fix them all? If you don't use dynamic analysis, the odds are good, and nobody has told you something separately to fix because it's a vulnerability. It's not hard at all to not use dynamic analysis, but fix everything you learned about.
Got it. I guess that goes into the question of like, so right now we are basically, for all of these, we're not doing any calculations on top, but like, should there just be a dynamic analysis, like, like overall?
I mean, you could. I mean, you could combine like static. If you wanted to, you could combine the static analysis used and fixed, and just take the minimum.
Yeah.
If basically, did you use it? If you use it, did you fix it?
Yeah.
If you wanted to combine those two into a single value, that would be. I mean, that would be perfectly reasonable. You combine. I would combine the used and fixed, and then the used and fixed.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah. By the way, it's possible to have we don't do static and dynamic. We don't use dynamic analysis, and we didn't fix it because somebody else did it, and they found a problem, and you didn't fix it either. That's not an improvement.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and of course, it's there's a whole bunch of criteria there, so it's always. The good news is that the overall badge level will tell you information even if you don't pull out all the details. And you have a link to the actual badge entry, right? So if they wanted to see all the details, they can just click on it, right?
Yes, right here.
Okay. You might want to do that down in the at the badge level value right there. Is that a clickable link also?
So this one here is that should be a. No, these are bugs. This can be a link.
Okay.
So yeah, so we'll add this as a link that should be dynamic to.
You can make all of those entries links right to the specific information, and that way, if they were wanting to know, you could make it.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, even in those specific things. Well, I guess if you combine used and fixed, you won't be able to do it so easily. But you can go click to specific criteria answers. So now, if you use used and free, I guess maybe if you do the used one. Right. So, if you put a sharp after that URL and then the name of the criterion, it has to be like the Yeah, static analysis
Okay.
used. Is that I forget? I don't think that's actually. I think it's just static analysis for that one.
Sure.
Or you could just search and.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just called static analysis. Well, no. They're yeah. Go up higher. The ID right above there.
This guy.
It's that that one's that no that's the div 4 lines
The
5
orange one.
lines up.
This guy.
There you go, that one right there, that ID. There's a lot of IDs.
Cool.
So if you just go to that one, well, you'll probably want to.
Perfect. Then it. Yep.
Then it jumps straight to that.
Perfect.
So if you did that for all those, but not and for passing itself, you can just bring the badge entry itself, and then if they have questions, then just go straight to it.
Yep.
Now I don't know what if there's any other. I mean, it very much depends on what you think is important. I can't simultaneously easily see what you're displaying and what and the possible criteria. But if I look at the criteria for the best practices badge, I mean, there's always the do the no common errors is do they think they know how to develop secure software,
Right.
And there's also the no unpatched vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities fixed 60 days is plausible also, but I mean I can make arguments either way, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, and what I didn't want to, so I wanted to try to avoid having so much data here that the reader just could not possibly have followed it and made a rational decision. What I really want is the SSL Labs, A+, which is some sort of a
short version of it.
Everything else, yeah. Which is why I kind of emphasize these guys, because this says, okay, like what I don't know is 61.5 reasonably good or pretty terrible?
Yeah, and I don't know that either. Actually, if there's one that you didn't have on the badge level, there's a short list of ones that people often fail on. One is the failing to tell everybody how to report, and the other is not having any tests. So actually, maybe that's the right way to pull these up is the test one and the reporting, which is I'll find the criteria name of that.
So the vulnerability reporting one I have is vulnerability report process status.
Vulnerability report process. Yeah, oh, you already have that one?
Yeah, that one is the vulnerability reporting. This guy here.
Oh, great. Okay, so it's already there. All right. So I guess the other one that people often miss. All right, so that's the hey, do you tell everybody how to report vulnerabilities? The other one, and I know some of you will be horrified, but it's automated testing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that everyone agrees that nobody should have automated tests, but it's it's disturbing how many projects don't have any automated tests.
So that'd be automated test.
That's just the word test. Yeah, the criterion name is test.
Perfect.
Yeah, but that's one of the more. I mean, it is better now than it was a couple of years ago, but that's one of the criteria that we still have a lot of projects that don't have any automated tests, and that's kind of really sad and pathetic. Okay,
so let's add it. Let's see how easy this is.
Yeah, we don't need to add it right now. Although I guess you're gonna show how fast.
I'm gonna see if it actually works because. Test. Test.
But hopefully, I'm hoping everyone here agrees that having automated tests is a good thing and is probably worthy of a note.
Yeah, and then this one apparently has no info for this. No, this one has Matt. Okay, not going to work. So we're not going to. We'll do it later. I figured if it worked out of the gate, it'd be impressive, but
okay.
all right. So we'll
You got close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and I see an agreement. Yes, it's worth it. And you might want to call it automated test. I mean, the short name of the criterion is test, but probably for display purposes, automated test would probably be the a clearer term.
Cool.
Yeah, and that would at least then you would highlight the ones that where people when people miss them, they're some of the most common missing criteria. So you'll see right away kind of the distinctions between the folks who are doing well and the folks who are doing not so well.
Do you guys think we should limit our kind of realm of metrics that we're ever going to put in here into like what already exists in these 3 repos? Because then do you think it might be misleading that big score on the left like does not represent some of the metrics that we kind of just toss in on the right, or we should add those in like some other kind of miscellaneous section or something like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think we've committed to limiting it at all. That's just where we started.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying like suppose like security reviews, for example, like that doesn't incorporate into the passing score at all, but it looks like it does, you know? Right. So like if we add new things, it could kind of skew people's understanding.
It should be in a different row. Yeah, so I think criticality, there shouldn't be anything in this row that is not coming from criticality, nothing in this row and this row. And then we can have our own like our own stuff, and then we throw whatever we want in there.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
This one is calculated, and I think that this one is just the fraction of these that are pass versus total, I think.
Why not omit them? Why do we have to put them, the others? If we are not using in calculation, do we have to put it there?
I think it's like in case we find other useful metrics that we like don't want to limit ourselves necessarily, but I can see that perspective for sure as well.
I guess so for this case, 61.5 probably should not take into account any more or less than is shown here, because that would be confusing. Because in the worst case, this would say like 100%, it's awesome, and everything here is red. Passing is not a calculated score. Passing is exactly what the badge program provides. Criticality is exactly what the Criticality project provides. So the only way for us to accurately represent this is to include everything and only those things that the Criticality score uses to calculate.
I think we can add just a new row, as you just said, of other metrics, and then whatever we want.
Yeah, and actually, I do want to do things like that, because we do have the spreadsheets and all the stuff that we've written over the past year on how to, all of the different types of metrics that we think are interesting, and if it's something that we should calculate ourselves, that's great. I would say our first, like our preferred position should probably be that, if this is the kind of thing that the scorecard probably should add, we should just do a pull request into the scorecard project and have them add the thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I just think this is kind of a kind of a non sequitur, but we probably ought to have tool tips with like little indicators somewhere on these major headings, or maybe even all these headings, so that if somebody doesn't know what some of these are, they can just hover over it and learn more.
Yep. Yeah.
I see you have a little. But
I got a little bit. Yeah.
But those single words are not really going to explain it to somebody who doesn't know.
Yeah. I think it would have to come there, and I should remove the jump text.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you've got some tooltips is great. We just need to embellish those so that I think I would like it so that if somebody had no idea, they could hover over it and get at least some reasonable idea of what that was all about.
Yep. Yeah, that totally works.
Do you want, how would you, let's see here. So how does that work? It looks like you can actually just edit right here in Grafana the text that's shown as a tooltip. Am I misunderstanding what you're showing me right now?
Nope. So what you can do, and you can do multiple of these. So somewhere, so link, so I can add a link to whatever test. And now, wait, what? Oh, that. So those are two different links.
Okay, that's not.
That's not. That's not. Yeah, no.
But there is a way. There is a way to edit the tooltip information.
I am sure there is. We'll figure it out. Yep.
Okay. How's this, Michael? Michael, I have a request. If you can find a way to edit the. Oh yeah, look. How many years since this project was first created? How did you do that?
Oh, it's the description.
It's the description field. Okay. Oh, hey, that almost makes sense. Okay. So let's see here. If you go over stars, does that have anything?
No.
Okay. So if you like, I mean, I or maybe some people could try to write up some proposed tooltip text, and then you can enter that in. I presume you're the one who has the authorizations to go edit these fields.
Dylan will as well as soon as I add him, which I will do today. So
no worries. I'm making plenty of parallel progress. So cool. Yeah, there's no rush or anything.
Awesome.
Okay, if you like, I could try to write up some text for that.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, if there's a short text in the badge program API,
there is. Yeah, there is, and also, frankly, if we can find a way to do calculated links, so that when you click there, like on static, like if you click on the secure denied knowledge, if we can make it so you can just click and see the specific, because they can add like justification text for that project.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So the trick is you're going to have to generate the URL, because obviously that's not going to be changed the same for every project.
Yep. I think that's doable, because here, like these are, I think these are calculated.
Well, at least the project name is at least unique. Number is at least unique to the project.
Yeah. I you know what, we'll
have to figure that one out.
We calculate it, throw it in the database, and then we just show it. So it's
okay.
Well,
worst comes to worst, if they can click on the project page, they can see all the data. So
yeah, exactly. It's
not really a critical.
Right. I mean, the other thing that we could do, and which is the nice thing about having the front end here, is it does kind of change. I mean, the UI kind of changes drastically, but at this point we can do whatever we want. So, if we wanted a kind of, we could do anything. We could embed the Grafana panels in as iframes on this.
Right. Okay. Tell you, I see we're running short on time. Can we spend a couple minutes on that last row?
Absolutely. Cool. It was a different project, but
yeah, we probably want a project with actual info that'll
with real data, really.
Yeah, Back to Kubernetes, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I didn't like about this was like static analysis used and fixed, Static analysis, no good here.
What I'm guessing that just means that whatever static analysis system they use isn't being discovered by the scorecard code,
That's
which,
exactly
to be fair, is pretty limited. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're showing the data as it is. You may not like the inconsistency, but it is correctly reporting the inconsistency.
Correct. So maybe in the text for these, we should be clear that the scorecard stuff is completely automated detection, whereas the badge program is a partially automated, mostly attested
Right.
content.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if we want to repeat it on each one of these, but at least for the SAST and the CI tests,
yeah,
that's probably important.
I'm noticing there's contributors and number of contributors. I feel like there's a difference and I just forgot what it is, but just from a general person's perspective, that might seem a little
yeah.
Yeah, I think that is confusing. What does contributors measure actually?
Let's find out.
I think it's just more than one.
I think it's a little different. I can't remember what.
It's like more than one from different projects or something like that. I gotta hunt it up myself. Uh-oh. He found it before I did.
Does it have from at least two
organizations? Have contributors
Two
from at least 2 organizations.
Yeah.
I win.
Things are hard to put on a tiny scorecard title. Is the problem.
You know what? If you said contributors open paren greater than 1 org, you could do it. But no. As just in the title.
Oh.
Just right after the word contributors, put in open paren greater than 1 org. There you go. You got it. See? Now you can actually put a real human description in there, but
just literally do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that'll make it easier.
Ooh, I think we just found a process for all the scorecard tooltips there.
Let's just crack the code.
Yep.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And oh, by the way, a lot of the CI best practices badge criteria, if you don't do the details, just the criteria themselves, either the text of the criteria or the first sentence of the criteria will do you for that too, come to think of it, because they tend to be one sentence also. Yeah, look at that.
See?
Okay, I think we just eliminated my job. Thank you for eliminating my job. But you know what? It's as authoritative as you can get.
Yeah.
And we can always extend it. Yeah, look at that. I like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will have a real problem understanding that. Okay. Yeah. Now, what about the OpenSSF project criticality? Do they have definitions like that? I think they do, don't they? Maybe so. Not. I'm sorry.
I think so.
I'll take
okay. Now, I guess for scorecard, you're just showing all of them, aren't you? You didn't try to select out, or did you?
I think I did select out. Yeah, like packaging.
Okay.
Which I don't recall selecting out. I don't recall thinking for more than like 6 seconds on which ones to choose or not choose.
Yeah, so. I don't think you put in branch protection, but I think there's some debate about that. So let's see here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you selected 12 out of how many ever there are.
And they have descriptions, by the way. I just checked it out for criticality.
14. Okay. It's possible that I used all of them and then they added more because I don't recall branch protection like seeing it before. But
I think it was. But you know what? If you know what, packaging is the other one. I don't think you listed that one either, did you? So you just listed the okay. So maybe you're right. Maybe they added 2 later. So
cool.
I mean, technically, you don't need to list CI best practices because you already listed that earlier. But
Right.
Do you guys think it's a bad thing to use like only a subset of the metrics, but then have the score like be for all of the metrics that are there? Or if we just don't want to put too much info out there on the dashboard, maybe I get that too.
I mean, if a project had like 300 different metrics that it was using, I wouldn't
Yeah, that's
want
no.
to try to do that. So
Never mind. Yeah, it's just.
but in these cases, like, yeah, if they have 14, we probably shouldn't just show 12.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'll just say.
yeah, and do you want to? I mean, this may seem strange, but obviously I like the best practices, but we already have that whole row already included earlier. You may not need it also in the scorecard.
Yep.
And it's fine, that's part of the calculations. We just don't need to show it separately as its own entry, because in fact we show it one row earlier from scorecard. Yeah. As a dupe.
Yep. Cool. The project overview here, I believe I grabbed this from the badge program. I think.
I don't know which this you mean.
Sorry. So this content here, or at least I think that this content.
Okay. Yeah, if it's from I mean, people typically enter that as yep. We actually fill that in from GitHub, but by default, although people can edit it.
So maybe, well, I'm thinking just based off the number of projects that we have versus have a badge, it may make more sense to try to source this from GitHub, because I think that for any project that doesn't have a badge, it'll look.
Look up like iter server or something.
That one has a badge, so that's not.
It's like impossible to.
It's impossible to find a project without a badge. I like it. Keep you finish your sentence, Michael.
2D and there we go. So yeah, this is unhelpful. So maybe we'll grab the description from GitHub.
From GitHub directly, sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like future enhancement. Well, and of course, have to, I appreciate you want to grab it from GitHub. But we do want to be able to grab data from GitLab and so on also.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, you know what? Sabadusa connectors or non GitHub repos.
Yeah, and I realize our time is almost ending, but the other group that Michael probably I'm going to have to find and get you connected also is Lfx Insights. Linux Foundation has a set of tools already for that support open source projects called Lfx, and I know that they're adding more information for metrics. They're really more focused on people who are managing a project, or kind of see, as opposed to just, it's not just should I use it, but how is contribution going? Is there a bottleneck? How do we fix that sort of stuff? But some of those numbers and such may be of use to this also.
Yeah, totally. That'd be awesome. So
I've had some other issues going, but I'll see if I can connect you and some of the folks in the LF together, and nobody has to do anything different, but I'm just trying to get people connected and at least know about each other.
Absolutely. Awesome. In the last minute, do we have anything else that anybody would like to bring up?
Yes, I would like to contribute, but I have no idea how to contribute. So I think there is another person as well. If anybody needs help, yeah, please
Yeah.
connect me.
So with any of these, I mean, certainly recommendations for kind of content update. I mean, really, any thoughts that you have on, you know, like these are the of everything that the badge program collects. These are the ones that we're showing. Is this the right subset? Scorecard, text here. I mean, I think a lot of it is just polishing on the dashboard itself.
One more thing is like it's I don't know about others, but for me it seems to be a little bit. You guys have gone a little further into the problem, and I'm having hard time following it up even in the meeting. So if somebody could guide us, if there is anyone else wants to join, it would be nice as well.
Sure.
I'm happy to help, Prakash, if you want to ping me on the, what is it? We have a Slack channel, yeah. So I'll be like editing stuff throughout. So if you need help, let me know.
Okay, thank you, Dylan.
Awesome.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time. We'll meet again in about 2 weeks, and I will send a doodle for potential new meeting times. So look out for that. I'll send that to everybody and post on Slack. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.